I got the car moved over a bit so I can kind of get around the other side. It's kind of dark over there, but that's because there's no lights over there. It's really hard to move this car because of the spool. Like, I can slide the rear end over easy with a jack, but then trying to slide the front, it doesn't slide so good because of the spool. It's just kind of a pain, but I got it over enough. I mean, I'm going to start with the driver's seat anyways, so who knows how long it'll take me to do that side. Let's get started removing the old-timey plastic bucket seats.
Here we go.
I've had these seats in this car for, geez, I don't even know how long. It's been a long time. And I like the look of them, don't get me wrong. I don't think they're ugly by any means. I actually honestly prefer the look of these seats to the ones that I bought myself. But I do think that the Kirkey style seat is definitely more comfortable, which is what we're looking for here, because this is a street car and I do drive it a lot, so I'd like to be a little more comfortable while I'm doing the driving. There we go. Now we're up in here. Who would have thought taking these seats out would be such a pain in the butt? I don't think there's a, well, we'll find out. We'll do a, once I get one of these out, we'll do a weight. We'll weigh them on a scale, and oh, that bolt didn't seem in there very good. Better take a good look at that before when I put them back in. I ended up putting extra foam in there. This piece. No, I think I added this piece too, because these seats are, yeah, these seats, like I said, are not the most comfortable. There's not much cushion in them. I ended up adding some because it was making my back hurt. One more. I think the holes on those new seats are bigger too, which will make getting these through a lot easier. Because, you know, you got to change them every 2 years. Be legal. So there's the seat belt. There's the seat cover out of there. Now we got to unbolt the seats and get them out. Crawl myself out of here. Ugh. Unfortunately, at some point, I think when I probably had pulled them out at some point or the other, these seats have these little metal, like threaded inserts in the bottom. They're not in there very well, and they ended up yanking out, at least on the front, and I ended up having to drill holes in the seat, so I have to use, which is fine, I mean, it works. The problem is getting the socket out without it falling inside the seat. That's the problem. Which is the problem that I'm currently having here. Seats are definitely still good, they're just, like I said, there's just this way that you gotta mount them, which I'll show you better when I get it out of the car. The DeWalt stinky gun fails me yet again. I did look at some other ones. What do you prefer, Milwaukee? Milwaukee better than DeWalt? Makita? I don't know. Post in the comments what kind of gun you think I should buy, because, and not only what brand, but I mean, this one says it's a 20-volt max lithium. I don't know. What do you guys think? What's a stronger, better one? I also don't want to spend $500 on one of these. Post in the comments below what you think I should buy, or if I should just, you know, use a ratchet like a man and just strong arm all my bolts out. I think once I get her a little loose, it'll probably go. It's got one of those locking nylock nuts on it. Maybe now the gun will work. Okay, we got her. Okay, so that's 2. Now the other ones, I think they just have the regular, I think I put studs in the bottom, but they're not, the holes weren't messed up, so they'll come out no problem. All right, we got her. Now don't mind the seat spacers that I made for it back in the day. They didn't do me wrong, so I even put carpet on them for the camouflage. And so yes, I use wood to hold the seats down, or to space them. So here you can see the holes in the seats, and then the bolts. So those ones I had put studs in just to make it easier, and then these ones just had bolts going through, and there's sounds like nuts flopping around in there. That's the old seat. And then there we go. Old and busted, new hotness. Old and busted, new hotness. There it is. 10 pounds, I would say. Let's see. These ones any lighter or heavier? Like I said, it's hard to put it on the scale. Looks about the same, I would say. Not really gaining or losing any weight, which wasn't really had anything to do with buying the seats anyways, so just kind of out of curiosity's sake. I got the seat sitting in there, as you can see. Now, the one thing that I don't particularly like about these seats is the fact that this part here seems so high to me, but maybe it's just me. I guess we'll have to wait and see till they're all mounted up, you know, like compared to that seat that's lower, but I guess it's there to protect your head better. These are the brackets. So basically what you got to do is drill a hole, like say here, and then that gives you the ability to adjust it, to lean it. Same with there. Now these seats, because they're so wide compared to the base of this seat, the base there is like just from here to here, and the base of these seats is well, 18 inches, so it's a lot wider across. So I have to move them out, which is in a way is okay, because I think this bracket actually sits on the factory floor where the seats bolted originally, which is a lot stronger than just the sheet metal, where on the inside there isn't anything there because this car had a bench seat from the factory. So I'm gonna have to definitely make sure that they're level from side to side so that the seat's level. So I think what I'm gonna do now is take the seat out, figure out exactly where those brackets have to go, drill holes, and then I have to basically mount these brackets in the car, put the seat in, and then just figure my height out, because right now that seat is way too low. I'm sitting totally on the ground, which is not good. So yeah, just kind of doing some test fitting. I have it kind of at the angle I want, which I think is a very similar angle to the old ones. I put it up on those 2x4s that were under the other seat to raise it. So as you can see, you know, we got this much left to go up, plus we can also go up some in the back. I had hoped that I could just drill a hole and then be able to, like, you know, tilt it back like that, but it doesn't really line up. They should have put these holes on a little more of a curve. So I'm just trying to come up with the seating, you know, like I think forwardness wise it's good. It's in a good angle back. It's just not high enough yet, because I know I don't have the cover on, and the cover will raise it up a tiny bit, but not that much. And right now I feel like I'm sitting on the floor still, which I don't like. So I'm trying to bring it up. So I think I will almost have to go right to the top hole. See, now I could weld on some kind of adjusters or pieces of tubing to set the seat on, then have it higher, but it's not really what I want. I want it to be mounted good for me, and I think that's going to do it. But I just kind of want to figure out exactly where the seat has to sit, so I know where to drill these holes, because I need to kind of know where this bracket sits in relation to, you know, like if I'm going to have it right around here bolting to the floor or whatever. And I'm also going to put some reinforcement plates underneath when I bolt it so that it's not just bolted through sheet metal, which is kind of how it was before, which I know is probably not the best. So I will put some, like, you know, 2x2, I'll cut out some plates to put under there to stiffen it up. So I'm just screwing around with that. I'll probably pull the seat out right away and drill those holes and get them kind of mounted so that I can test fit it and then make marks to... Overall, this should be pretty easy install. It's just kind of the figuring on getting it exactly where I want it. Kind of like that, because then the whole bolt hole will go through there and that bolt will be underneath into like this part here. I don't have to worry about cutting the bolt shorter or anything like that, where on this side it's going to go through here. I mean, they give you bolts that are pretty long. I can cut them down, but don't want it protruding into your rear end. Pretty sure I need it to be that high anyways. I think otherwise it's going to sit too low, which is what I don't want. So let's drill some holes. I got a step bit on here. I'm hoping it works okay. I think it's a little dull on the end. Oh, and I'm going backwards. What's going? Just... Okay, so that's one. And then that will go through there. What I'll do is get them mounted and then retest fit them. Well, I should probably get a different drill bit because this is terrible. It's aluminum. Well, that was terrible. Definitely need to clean that up a bit. And the drill moved, and now the hole doesn't fit. Of course. All right, so I got it bolted on temporarily. I said afterwards these bolts will have to get shortened. I ended up just having to oblong that hole a little bit to get it to line up, but that one's on. So now I'm gonna flip it around. I'll drill the other side. I got a better drill bit to use, and then we'll have to test fit it again. I'm definitely gonna do something about these dangling bolts here. I got it in the car, and it's good, except it definitely, like, if you look at it, the height of the top of the seat is about the same, close to the same, but because this seat has the deeper pocket than say that one does, there's definitely, I definitely sit lower in the car. So then I also went and grabbed my helmet, because I know with the seat before, my helmet would kind of like rub against the roof. I have my sun visors kind of here because they still work, like I can still use them, but they won't fit in the stock location when they're up, not being used, so I have them here. My helmet always hits there, and if I sit in that seat and I put my helmet on, my helmet is definitely above the roll bar, like not above the main hoop, but above the door bars, like these bars. So in this seat, I'm definitely below that, which is good. I think it's just because I've had these seats in the car for 25 years or however long I've had them in there for, a long, long time. So I'm used to the seating position, but I don't hate the seating position that I have right now. I even put the cover on half-assed to see how that would be. The only thing that I'm looking at right now is that right now the way the seat is in there, it's sitting like on an angle because it sits up here on where the factory bench seat would have bolted, which is higher than that side of the floor. I think I'm gonna have to add some spacers of some kind to that side to level it. And I think once I level it, it's actually gonna pick the seat up a bit, and then it'll probably be good because I'm probably sitting in there and kind of like leaning over. So I think I'm gonna take the cover off, try to do some measurements to see how like off I am, do an angle, whatever. I'm totally blanking out right now, but I'm gonna have to check to make sure it's level. That's what I'm thinking. and what I have to do to make it level. Yeah, so this is kind of like not a direct bolt in, of course. I mean, no project like this is, but once we get this seat done and figured out, the other seat will be like a 10-minute job because we'll know what we're doing, right? Figuring this one out is kind of being a little bit of a challenge, but so I'm going to pull the cover off and then try to get this thing level. It's not a lot to get it level. It's just raise it up that little bit, which to me looks to be about, oh, I don't know, I'd say about an inch or so. After that, I'm basically going to just live with the fact that I sit lower in the car, because like I said, it's not the worst thing that I sit lower. It's going to take some getting used to when you've sat in a certain kind of seat with a certain kind of position. It's not that it feels uncomfortable, it just feels weird, but I think it'll be good. I think I'm going to have to space it up on that side, like the size of this. It's like an 1.5 inch piece of tubing. I'm not using this whole piece. I'll just have to make it a little stand. And then here it's good. Here it might need a little space. And then on the inside, it's going to need something kind of more about this size, which I just cut this little test piece out to figure it. So what I did is I put this tape, which kind of tells me where the seat brackets go. And then what I got to do is take the seat out, take the brackets off, and now I'm going to have to like mount the brackets to the car and make sure they're level from left to right, side to side. And then once they're level and bolted in, then it's a matter of just bolting the seat in and it should be good. All right, so there we go. Drilled some holes and I bolted this one straight to the floor, like no spacers or nothing, because that's where the original bench seat sat, like I said before. And then on the other side, what I ended up doing is, let's see if I can find one of them here. I had some spacers from something like this that I put one in the rear, and then in the front I put this spacer that I had. I'll go get it, which is right here. It's actually just something I might make it out of something else, but this is some kind of fitting for something, pipe thread, and it was pretty much this long with another set of threads on the other end, and I cut the threads off on this one, which was too short, so then I ended up putting the full one in, and that was perfect. It's nice and level, except the rear on that side is still unlevel. It still sits a little crooked, so I have to shim that up a tiny bit. You can't really tell right now. If I took the seat cover off, you could kind of see it, and when I sit in it, I can kind of tell that that corner's lower, but the front is level, nice and level, and the back is just off level a little bit. So what I'm going to do is pull the seat out, level it, add a couple washers or whatever to level it, and then it should actually be good. There it is. Pretty much it's all in there now. I think it looks pretty good. And it's nice and sturdy. And I don't even have it, like, I guess you can bolt it to that back brace, but I don't have it bolted, at least not right now. So I think that looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm still not sure about leaving them aluminum or painting them black, but for right now, that looks pretty good. So that one's in. It'll probably come out again just to make sure that the bolts are good and that they got washers and all that kind of stuff on them. And next will be to start on the other side, which hopefully I'm going to do tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. All right, so it is the next day. I'm out here again. I just went over everything, tightened up all the seat belts, etc. So this one is it's good. It's done. It's in there solid. And I started to take the other side apart. So you can see I got the cover off. I got the belts out of the way. And that one actually doesn't have any holes drilled in it. So all the studs are good. So I'm going to go and take that seat out. I'm not going to do too much tonight, which doesn't really matter to you because if I come out here tomorrow, whatever. I got out here kind of late, so I figured I'd just come out and at least get something done. So I at least want to get the seat out. I can start fitting the brackets and stuff to the other seat, And like I said, hopefully this one will go a lot easier because I already did this side and I know exactly what I want. Like I went today after work, I grabbed another one of these that's not cut. I'm hoping I got the right one. I'm pretty sure I did. So hopefully, it was only 89 cents, so it doesn't really matter. All right, there she is. And yeah, like this one, all those little things are still good. I think I actually bought the seats one at a time, so they might even be a little different. I think they're both the same brand, but, and then we'll get our mounting blocks, our actual blocks, out of there, and now we're ready for putting a new seat on that side. So of course when you're doing your second one, it's going to be way easier because I'm basically just going to copy what I did on that side. So I put this on here, I marked it out so that it's the same place it is on that seat. And then, but this time, I actually have a good drill bit and I'm going to do a center punch. In other words, do it the right way instead of the way I did the last seat, which was not the right way. And I got this drill bit, which is a really good quality drill bit. This other drill bit, which isn't the greatest drill bit, but since I've already drilled the pilot hole, it's not as critical to have it exactly the same height because it's not for the driver, but that being said, I want them to be symmetrical. Like I said, that went a lot nicer than the other one did. So I'm gonna flip it over, do the other side, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. There you go. I got both brackets on and they look really good. They're on there. And there's actually a lot of room at the front to get at the bolts. This is the way they're in there. So now what I'm gonna have to do is I'll probably set it in the car. And I was just thinking about this, which I should have done on the other one. I can at least do it for the two front bolts, is maybe kind of set it in and then even mark on the carpet with like some whiteout or a silver marker or something, the spots where I need to drill the holes. And then I can take it all apart, put it back in, and then figure out where the rear holes have to go and then do the drilling and mounting, which will kind of make it easier. So I already showed you guys that on the other seat. I'll come back when the seat's in and we'll close this out. We're all done. There is the passenger one in and the driver's side in. So the driver's side or passenger side went exactly the same as the driver's side. I did the measurements and made sure that the holes were in the same spot. I also welded up the holes from the old seats, the holes in the floor, seam sealed them. I'll have to probably pull this driver's side one out again to also do that. There's good. Clayton and Mike.
I'm gonna fucking crawl in there right away.
He's gonna crawl in there and then probably won't be able to crawl back out. Do you want to get in right now on film, on camera, before we go?
Well, I think it's gonna be easier to get in with these. Fucking Dukes of Hazzard stuff. How do you take the steering wheel off?
It doesn't come off.
Well, I mean, does it tilt?
No.
That's fucking. I mean, that's the only problem. Cute. Oh fuck, that's so much nicer. I remember the other ones.
He looks lower in there too.
Hey, do I look low?
Yeah.
It's like
you can judge it from the arm hanging on the window angle.
Or it doesn't work.
There's no battery.
I thought this was a streetcar.
No battery in there. You're gonna flood it.
Wow, that's a wide brake pedal.
It's automatic brake pedal. I don't know.
That's for 2 foot in it.
I guess. It had a manual on one end. This car actually is a 3-speed manual car.
Have that off.
Because that's what it's supposed to
Good
be.
to have.
I like it.
You can
It's
cross.
for stopping.
You change feet easier.
I don't have an issue
Black
with
car's the only car I drive with 2 feet.
it. But it has a
Can't
manual
drive
pedal
with
in
1
it.
foot.
It probably has a manual pedal. That's why it's probably small.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, automatic
And that's
pedal's
all
big.
you need if you're 2 foot driving.
Sure, I guess so. But
I mean, if you're
I swapped over to the automatic pedal. I have the manual brake pedal and clutch pedal and everything still for it to put it back in. I retire from racing and put a manual in here. Back in.
you retiring,
Probably.
that's it. Fuck it.
Maybe this year.
Let's go to Bonneville.
Salt flats, yeah. Okay, are you gonna get out now or?
Nope, not till the camera's up.
Come on, let's go.
Where's the hat one?
There you go. I got the door. I don't have a bucket for you to stand on or anything.
Well, if it's not in the air, I don't need
What are you doing? If this was Whistling Diesel, you'd have lost by now.
Would have what?
You'd have lost by now. I said, oh, here we go. Oh my God.
Well, the only problem is that steering wheel doesn't move.
I don't have a problem.
You should get a detachable.
It's a streetcar, man. Stock steering wheel. Just the way GM intended it. All right, guys. That's it for this video. Next video, we will be starting on the front suspension and the steering rack and things. So stay tuned for that, and we'll check you later.
Yeah, I can't wait for the front end video myself. All right, we'll check you then.